In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to use tempo and articulation to enhance a piece of music. I have a sequence of the melody My Bonnie, which is pretty bland. Let's hear it. Sounds like a MIDI sequence, not very emotional. Let's see if we can add some emotion to it. Let's start with tempo. So in order to have tempo changes happen in your session, you need to first off enable the conductor. They call this the conductor track enable. So turn that on. Now it's going to read the tempo from the tempo ruler. So we want to make sure that is showing as well. So Pro Tools uses two terms, tempo ruler, conductor track. They mean the same thing. So let's start by changing the initial tempo. Hit the plus sign, and I can choose a tempo change, one-time tempo change. So maybe I'll choose something like this, a little slower. Okay, so we have a little bit slower tempo. Turn off the metronome, don't need that right now. And let's say I wanted to accelerate from measure 3 to measure 5. Accelerando means to speed up. So I'm going to actually highlight from 3 to 5 and go up to Event, Tempo Operations, and choose Linear, which will open the Tempo Operations window and specifically a linear tempo change adjustment. Linear means constant change over time. So it shows my selection here. I could change it if I wanted to. It shows my original tempo. And let's say I want to go to this tempo. Press apply. And you'll see some tempo marks here. I can expand the tempo ruler and we actually see little points here, which we could edit if we wanted to change the tempo more. I could pull up a point, change the tempo temporarily there. Let's hear how it sounds now. Okay, maybe that's a little nicer. And let's say we wanted to slow back down right here. Same process, highlight, event, tempo operations. I'll choose linear, shows where I'm starting. And I could put in a new tempo here, apply, and we see that ramping down. Okay, so that already makes it a little more musical. Now let's work a little bit with articulation. Articulation means how long a note sounds, and accents, which is the volume of each individual note. So it might be nice to have this note be a little shorter and some of these notes descending a little shorter. So I'm going to open the MIDI event list and the MIDI editor. Let's start by editing in the MIDI editor. Let's make this note shorter for starters. See how this sounds. That might be nice, maybe not. But these notes could be shorter. I'm actually going to go out of grid mode so I can make the adjustments more smoothly. Let's try this. And you can see the notes getting shorter in the event list as well. If I show that, their length is getting shorter. See how this sounds. Okay, it's getting closer. It's really difficult to duplicate a good live performance with editing, but we can do a little more. And it's sometimes nice to have accents. Everything right now is the same velocity, if we can see that in the MIDI event list. So let's edit velocity here. Maybe this note should be a little louder. First off, I'm going to change them all to a lower velocity. Event operations, change velocity, set all to I'll set them to a middle of the road velocity. There they all change. Now I can add some accents. Maybe make this number higher. I'm actually clicking and holding the mouse and rolling it. Make this a little lower. Make this a little higher. I could type values in as well. So let's see how it sounds now. Okay, I think I want this one to be much louder. Let's try it now. Okay, so very slowly it's getting a little more musical. Maybe that's too much. All right, so for every melody, there'll be different ways to do the phrasing and articulation and tempo, but you can use those tools to make the melody more expressive.